Hi, Puck man. It's Louie. Um, so thank you, Chris, first and foremost, for this awesome present that you got me. A review of the Creations for Jason album. I was just gonna give a reaction video. Like, I'm gonna pause here and there, give some little, a general reaction, my thoughts, some extra things, little trivia fun facts, what have you. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
I'm Nice with it Ona, slowly becoming the internet's biggest hater and nerd here with the first and probably only long awaited Chris's music review.
We'll see about that.
Um, Coming in at only 23 years of age, this up and comer in the tri state music and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate scene is making waves, even hosting his own Long Island Summit 2025 at his literal house.
I did do that, and you should check out my other YouTube video, um, the Long Island Summit recap, which is the last video that I did, if you're interested.
Anything he calls his crafter work he dedicates his all to, and Creations for Jason is truly no different. My most recent listen, however, was on my Christmas present for myself, and it's an AP80 Pro Max, basically a high resolution music player. It's super, super small. It's like, basically like half my palm. I got to really experience this album, every nook and cranny, in the rawest form that you could possibly listen it to.
Respect.
But I got the good, I got the bad, the ugly, the stinky, and the downright stanky. That being said, though, every criticism is still going to be giving some flowers because like I'm just impressed. Um,
Oh, you don't have to be too nice, Chris. Sometimes I listen back to the whole thing and I cringe a little bit, but it's also because, I have more ambitions in terms of music I do want to create in the future. And I guess looking at it through the lens of, it being just a funny thing we did for our friends, which was kind of the goal in essence, I personally would probably be a little more critical of this thing than I think you would.
every single track's production is fun, just baseline. It tickles just the right itch of homegrown, right out of the basement, with sound made for the early 2010s, like SoundCloud, YouTube rappers starting right off. It's all
Yeah, I think that was also because what we used was pretty much, where is it? Oh, the tripod's in here. We pretty much just set up the tripod, sat on a chair. I had my Beats headphones and used this little $15 lapel microphone that I just found at Best Buy. That would definitely factor into the way that it sounds.
authentic to its core, right? And even if some of the lyrics from all three members of the group are nonsensical and combinations of words that have never been strung together until as you are listening to it, that is exactly what I expected going into this album because and I genuinely adore every second of it because it's made by real people with real intentions and a real desire to just enjoy themselves. Well, no matter the outcome, no matter how silly or goofy, unequivocally human.
It's like we didn't really care if we made the worst thing ever, as long as it was funny, to laugh at or just enjoy. We definitely succeeded in that regard.
Even in its absurdity and in things that I would never think of or even dare say, right? Um, they almost all have a flow to them, have rhyme scheme, are on beat to some extent, um, are consistent in their messaging, and even have references to the songs uh, to the very samples being used in the songs, right? Like on DeAndre Swift, for example, like pairs the sample that's used is from One Piece and pairs directly with Andrew's One Piece references in his lyrics, right?
That's a really fun thing I just like to do in general. Yeah, I only F with tall bitches like Nico Robin because of the Robin theme song in the back. I think at the time Andrew, I had just put him on Babytron, and we were scrolling through the Babytron reels of the highlights of his funny lyrics. That's where the whole style of that song came from. One liner after bar after bar after bar on this Michigan hood trap drum Nico Robin sample song. He's gonna talk about it later. The song with a really really long name. There's this one song by Jim Legacy. It's called Father, and I think I love that song. And it's also really funny because the song in the background, the girl's singing "I love my father," and then he's rapping about like growing up without a father, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna spend my money on her. She said I shouldn't." Father. That's just one song that I think about that uses a sample not necessarily as like an aesthetic, but like you can develop the song further than just chopping up an old song and just throwing on a drum beat and call it a day.
Lyrics in general, they're also just catchy as fuck. Megan and I will randomly turn to each other and just go, "Hey girl, what's going on with you?" Right? Like all the originals on this album have replayability, and if the lyrics were not as they were, that would not be able to be the case whatsoever.
One thing I would say, I feel like the lyrics are more secondary when I decide how the flow of a song will go. I think that's a Kanye-ism that I've picked up, where in a lot of his unreleased songs, you'll hear him mumbling over the track before he like enunciates words. He calls them like murmurs, where I'll listen to a song and I'll just hum along, and be like, la la di da di da. And even for like I'm nice with it, I kind of was just mumbling over the song before we put words. We could have stuck anything else in there besides like liking to run and flip and like Mountain Dew. If we were to ever make that song public, because I'm gonna treat this Creations for Jason album like that one Wu Tang album that's like under lock and key and like worth $3 million or something, where like nobody is allowed to listen to it. That's pretty much what Creations for Jason is. It's the super secret $3 million Wu Tang album. But I digress. We kind of just I'll hum like "Ah, da, 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 da," and we'd probably change the lyrics to be less like inside jokey.
Moving on, backing the lyrics is genuinely impressive production by Louie. Like I laud you, I applaud you. The sampling choice for ones like Birdman, sorry, using Red Dead music, and the Liam voice memo injunction in the middle.
Funny thing, the second half of the song is the Red Dead sample. The first one is I was thinking of Pal World. It's Rim World, but I guess Thomas wouldn't have gotten that reference because his roommate named Earl was the one who was playing Rim World and not him.
Shout out John.
His
His
name's
actual
John.
name is
Okay, his
John.
actual name is John. Thank you, Michael. Andrew was the one on the Red Dead segment, and he rapped about RimWorld. Did you mention Red Dead in your half, Michael?
I don't think so.
Okay. He didn't have a little flippity floppity situation.
Like the only way that I can put this album, how it really makes me feel from top to bottom, is handed us. It's like you handed us like a 1,500 piece puzzle that's all the same color green, at least on the box, but as we open the box and flip the pieces over, they're actually all handmade, and the picture actually forms something sick as fuck.
This was a very sweet analogy. This really like touched my heart. I was listening to this video for the first time and I was like, "Oh, thank you, Chris."
The sample on like my cousin's flight got delayed, and I just gave my 2 weeks notice. I wake up and I hear that beat still. That's how good it is. Not something that I say like lightly. Like it's such a good sample.
Sample for that song is "I'm So Into You" by SWV, also known as Sisters with Voices. It's like a '90s R&B song. That's a good song. It's a banger.
Another big thing of this album is the use of autotune, right? Throughout the entire album, I was really nervous, but it was surprisingly balanced for the June Boys. Not that I expected like a total over or under reliance on it, but I was, I was pleasantly surprised that it didn't overwhelm or overpower the true artistic intent um, of most of the tracks. Some here and there, definitely you could have pitched it down a little bit or turned it up to um, to avoid some pitching issues, if you will. But yeah, I think it was actually really solid.
I am personally an enjoyer of Hi Riley. No, I am personally an enjoyer of the auto tune, more so as like a tool rather than a crutch, because I know that like I don't have the best singing voice in the world, so like a little bit will help. I was brought up in like the Kanye 808s era, where that was like very formative for me, and apparently that's like a drainer pipeline because I'm a big fan of Blade, and most recently in underground rap I've been listening to like Slayer and Lucy Bedrock. And they kind of fall into that niche where they like use autotune like that. It's just something that like for instance when like the notes kind of like glide between each other, it like scratches an itch in my brain, and I really like the sound. So it's something I don't mind implementing.
Experimental nature on tracks like Message from Planet Gert and Shack-alicious, geez, seem to draw from the ongoing camp of folks, at least those that I am familiar with sound-wise, in the games such as JPEG Mafia, Danny Brown, and Yeet. While the sound is definitely different and isn't my favorite cup of tea, I can still appreciate them for the thought that had to go into them and sip on them lightly.
Yeah, Message from Planet Gert, when I was producing that one, I definitely was thinking of 2093 by Yeet. The whole the second half where like the strings come in and it's almost like the space opera type of sounding thing. Yeet is also one of my favorite artists, so that's definitely where I pulled from. You got that spot on, Chris. Very good musical analysis. I tip my hat to you.
Uh, the covers are both some of my favorite and least favorite songs on the album. Mike's rendition of "What a Wonderful World" has Louis Armstrong wailing his trumpet and rasp, rolling in his grave. Andrew's vocals on "Anything But Ordinary" put bugs under my skin and worms in my veins for a bit, for sure. Um, I did not know that the White Boys could speak a little Espanol with great diction and pronunciation, but I loved it. I absolutely.
I actually have a story about Lágrimas Sal y Limón. So, at my old job, there was this guy behind the counter. His name was Tito, and he would play this song, and then I would mess around with him, and I would go wah like they would in the song, and I just wanted to do that. Kind of like how I covered Monkey versus Robot because I just wanted to scream Monkey and Robot over and over, and that was like literally the only reason I wanted to cover them, just because like I was like feeling them at the moment. I guess I can kind of lean on the having heard the song so many times, and that's what I will attribute to my Spanish speaking skill because other than songs, I can't really speak Spanish. Yeah, I'm kind of a fraud.
Um, Meanwhile, my most recent listen, and I'm dead serious, Louis' cover of "They Long to Be Close to You," like, uh, was this close to tearing up. Was so good. Same thing with the use of autotone, like, was just enough to really bring it home. Um, and it was, I mean, it was there.
I chose that one. Originally, I was debating between that one and Kiss of Life by Sade. I was inspired by Bully actually because Kanye used the Stevie Wonder talk box version of that song that he did on TV for the sample. I almost kind of ripped the ending of the Kanye version. Well, not necessarily because there's more. His was more of like a robotic vibrato sounding thing, and I went for more like runaway outro thing. That's where my choice of "They Long to Be Close to You" came from. Big surprise. Kanye guy wants to do the Kanye song.
The tribute to the old to none other than the
Speaking
old
of,
Kanye, with your cover, Louis, of "Find Your Love" felt like a full circle moment for the rapper and singer as well. Really hearing it in the ever passionate yet steady voice of his.
it's funny you say full circle moment because even before the recording sessions began for Creations for Jason, that song existed. I actually covered that song just on my own to literally test out the microphone because I had like just gotten it. And as we were forming the track list, I'm like, oh hey, I have this one cover that I have on my phone, and I just throw it into the track list.
Part of that leads me to my only real criticism is the length of the record, and even at that, that's kind of a personal gripe because I'm crotchety and prefer shorter, not as silly Billy listens through, if you will. Uh, but for these three, I'll make the exception.
I think it's funny that you mentioned the length without mentioning the bonus track. The only song I think to surpass like 6 minutes, and it was like almost 9 minutes, because I just wanted to do like a Babytron like Emperor of the Universe type of thing. Yeah, I am a Babytron enjoyer. That song, the concept was more just like All right, we have our track list set. How far can we like push these people? It ended up not working out that way because you didn't really have an official listening party where everyone sat down for like an hour and 20, but or however long it ended up being. It was like an hour 30, something like that. Hour 30. Yeah. But it ended up everyone was going back being like, "Oh wow. Wait, this is actually kind of a gem. A secret gem alert." Um I don't know why I said that, but it's funny how people would just mention to us things that they would discover in hindsight upon re-listening. And I think that's awesome because I like putting my little secrets in there, whenever I can, little references.
I give this album a strong Lake House classic out of 10. Um, it was truly a treat to receive. Will continue to be a treat as I am able to re-listen to it whenever I want to now. If the June Boys have one fan, it is me. If the June Boys have no fans, I'm dead. Um, I love you all. I hope you enjoy Louie. Talk to you later.
I did thoroughly enjoy Chris. Thank you so much. This was awesome, and I'm glad that I was able to put the battery in your back to create a little thing like this. It was just so fun. It was just so fun. Just I'm surprised you weren't as harsh as I thought you would be because like I did mention before, I always think to myself it's like, wow, what if I actually like took this seriously? And I have ideas. It's just that they haven't come to fruition yet, maybe for the lack of time or resources, but sometimes at a certain point you can theory craft and think about doing something as much as you want, but at the end of the day, you just kind of got to go do it. Put pen to paper, throw something at the wall, and see what sticks. That was kind of another one of the driving forces between this album's creation was it would be fun. Why not? Let's just do it. Thank you everyone for watching along. This has been Louis Cologne, Chris Cardona, Creations for Jason, Reaction. Thank you.